Welcome everybody, this is History of Christian Cults 101. I'm Mr. Bennett. Today we will be talking about the cult, the Lord's Resistance Army, led by Joseph Kony. But before we can dive into that, I need to give you all a little background information on Uganda. So to start off, let me give you all a little bit of background information on Uganda. So in the late 19th century, Uganda was ran by the British colonial enterprise, and the British would try to go in these indigenous communities in Uganda, up around northern Uganda, and these tribes and these communities had a very rough way of living, very pastoral, a lot of farms, rural areas, harsh environments, and the people of these communities met the British with resistance and were not really looking forward to adapting to that way of living and being under their rule. Specifically the Alkoli tribe, right around here, while the southern tribes of Uganda, along this area, were more open to the British rule. And so this led to a social divide between the two halves of the country, the northern and the southern. And the southern had way more resources, way more infrastructures, and just a better way of living. So ultimately, Uganda gets independence from Britain in 1962, and shortly thereafter, Uganda is led under the dictatorship of Idi Amin. He was a military man, but he is overthrown by the people of Uganda in 1979. And this left a struggle of who's going to take power in Uganda. And ultimately, President Museveni, who is the current president of Uganda, his group, which represented the southwestern portion of Uganda, ended up taking power. And this obviously still left the northern people and the Alkoli people of Uganda upset feeling still. And so Alice Lakwena in 1986 started this group called the Holy Spirit Resistance Army. And she claimed that she received messages from the Holy Spirit of God on how to overtake the Ugandan government, and if her people would just listen to her and follow her, then they could take control over the government again. And ultimately she was defeated in 1988. So once Alice's Holy Spirit Resistance Army was forced out, this guy right here, Joseph Kony, started the Lord Resistance Army. Joseph Kony claimed that God had told him that he was going to start a new Uganda government and force out the president, and the constitution of this government would be a corrupt version of the Ten Commandments. Joseph Kony got his soldiers for his army by going into Ugandan villages and kidnapping children, forcing them to kill their parents, and taking the women as sex slaves. It is estimated that Joseph Kony has kidnapped over 30,000 kids since the late 1980s. In 2005 alone, he kidnapped 1,500 Uganda children. The issue was so bad that Uganda was forced to set up these displaced person camps around the country, where basically kids and village members would go to these camps to live, to have protection. And ultimately, Uganda has got the issue under control. The military, with aid from other foreign countries, have forced the Lord's Resistance Army out of Uganda. And Joseph Kony's army has caused a little bit of trouble for Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo, but it is a dying movement. There is less than 200 members today, and it is a mystery if Joseph Kony's even alive anymore.